Welcome to Crafting on the Plains. My name is Jacintha and this is my channel all about cross stitch, knitting, sewing, quilting, and whatever crafty endeavors that I happen to get up to. Thank you so much for returning viewers, and also thank you so much and welcome to new viewers. I actually got quite a few new viewers and new subscribers since my last video, so thank you so much. Thank you so much if you are a returning viewer that has, been coming back, subscribed, liked, commented, and if you're a new viewer, thank you so much for giving me a chance and for subscribing. I am going to do a little bit of a intro to myself just really quick because I do have quite a few new subscribers. So like I said, my name is Jacintha and I live in Oklahoma. That's why my name is Crafting on the Plains. I live in like the eastern part of central Oklahoma or the central part of eastern Oklahoma. I don't know. And I am a college professor and an attorney, and I live with my husband, my daughter who is 5, going to be 6 this fall, and we have 2 cats as well. So yeah, I have been cross stitching since 2019. And I've been doing other crafts throughout my life at various times. So in this video, we're going to have just cross stitch and knitting. I don't have any sewing to share. I've actually had kind of just with the busyness of getting back to school, it being kind of and winding down summer break, I have been so tired and so busy. So I've not done as much crafting as I would like, but I have done some. So I'm going to show it to you. Also, if you are a new subscriber or new viewer, please let me know how you found me. Did you find me through just like YouTube showing you my videos? Did somebody recommend you? I'm just always sort of interested when I see like a bump in my subscribers and my views to see kind of where they came from. And I always, if somebody shouted me out that I don't know about, I always want to give them a thank you. Also, I did want to do a little bit of a shout out really quick, which is to Bex Bin. She gave me a shout out and a recommendation in her latest video, so thank you so much. We met at the Midsummer Stitch and we were in a stitchy room together, and so I really appreciate her shouting me out, so thank you so much. I will link her channel down below if you do want to go check it out. So I know I'm talking a bit fast and I apologize about that. I am, like I said, it's just been really busy and I do have to leave. After I make this video, I have to go. My daughter, her after school summer care kind of daycare program is doing their end of the summer thing, and she's actually going to be leaving that program because they will keep them up through pre-K, and then in kindergarten they leave. And so I'm pretty sad and she's really sad. So yeah, it's definitely an emotional time, the back to school time. Okay, jumping right into the content. I do have a finish. This is one that I had just started in my last video and I'm already done, and that is Clementine. This is Clementine the Fox. She's kind of moving around. There we go. Clementine the Fox from Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery, and she's so cute. She was a Jingle Ball pattern, I think 2 years ago. So she's not an exclusive anymore. You can pick her up on their website, and I think they have paper and digital. I bought the digital at Jingle Ball, but there she is. She's so adorable. And she's a very quick stitch. I finished her in less than 2 weeks, and I did not work on her exclusively either. Look at her little mouth. When I saw her little mouth, you know what? I think I forgot her eyelashes. I think she has eyelashes that I've forgotten. She still looks cute, but I'm going to go ahead and add in those eyelashes. So, yeah, that's funny that I didn't put in eyelashes because they're so cute. All right, so she's finished sans eyelashes. I used the called for fabric. I bought the fabric as well at Jingle Ball from Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. It is 28 count Picture This Plus Alchemy. And I said last time I really enjoyed this. I don't usually stitch on 28 count, but the Picture This Plus is just a little bit tighter. It's not quite a 32, but it's a little bit tighter. And I've loved how my stitches have looked, and I've loved how easy it is to see the 28 count. I also did all the called for DMCs because what really drew me to this pattern is specifically the colors. Like obviously how adorable she is, but I loved the kind of like rustic, natural, kind of like, I don't know, Scandinavian Christmas colors, right? Like with the oranges and stuff like that. I love that. And so I wanted to use all of their colors because I just love the color palette so much. So there is Clementine, and I am gonna go add in her eyelashes. I think she has eyelashes. I'm gonna have to check my pattern, and then I'm gonna add in her eyelashes, and then she will be done. And the pattern comes with a template for the oval. So if you use the called for fabric count, you can use the template. I don't think I'm going to turn her into an ornament, but I think I will use the oval template and then like back her onto another piece of like fabric covered board or something, just because I feel like this is, I don't know, it's not that big for an ornament, but I don't know. Anyway, so there's Clementine. The next things, so Clementine, as well as pretty much everything else I've worked on, I worked on through the Stitch the Summer Olympics challenge that was held by the TheNapTimeStitcher. She is on Instagram. I will link her, or I'll put her handle. She always has so many fun challenges, prompts, things like that to do. And I had a lot of fun. I did not do all the days. I kind of fell off at the end just because, like I said, I haven't had that much stitchy time. So it's not that I didn't like the prompts. I just didn't stitch those days at all. But I'm normally a stitcher who I work on one project for a few days, or I work on a couple projects for a few days, like the same projects every day, and then I'll switch off or whatever. I don't normally switch projects every single day. So obviously with the challenge, you could do it however you want to. You could try to fit one project into as many of the prompts as you wanted to. That would be fine. And that's what I originally was going to do, to try to get a bunch of progress on one thing. But then I just thought, you know what? I'm going to try to work on as many projects as I can, because I don't normally switch projects every day. And I have a lot of whips that have just been kind of languishing. Like, I love them. I want to work on them, but I haven't been pulling them out because they're not in this season, or because I started them a while ago and just kind of forgot how much I like them. And so I just thought this is a great opportunity to pull out as many whips as possible and get re-inspired to work on them. And so that is what I did. It was a lot of fun. It was challenging to work on a new thing every day, but it was fun. So, and there's still a couple more days of the Summer Olympics. I'm a huge Olympics fan. And so I'm hoping I can get back on the challenge and start working on it, but we'll see, because the next couple days are so busy for me. So in no particular order, this project is one that those of you who are on Instagram, people on Instagram love this project, and I understand why, because it is beautiful. And it is this. I will post a picture on the screen somewhere because I am using the digital pattern, but this is White Winter Moth by Barrick, and she is beautiful. I love Barrick, but I love this pattern so much. It's a Quaker, and I think this is the first Quaker I ever started, and I just feel like it's so stunning. I will tell you, this moth, the moth is probably about 65% of the stitches is the moth. So I can't remember what percent done I am, but you can kind of see that I have to fill in the motifs on the other side. So I did finish up that top center motif and start working on some other ones. I am stitching this on a 36 count salt brush by Fox and Rabbit, and I am stitching it with the called for DMC. So it's originally charted in Silks MPI, I think, but Barrick graciously provides a DMC conversion, and I pulled the DMC, and I think they're beautiful. I actually, on the cover of this chart is deceiving, because the model image, the way the photography looks, it makes it look like it's all shades of gray. And I liked it, but I thought, well, I'll pull the colors and I'll kind of see, you know, maybe I want to change it up. But it's greens. It's all shades of blues and greens. Even that dark color is a really, really dark green. And everyone is always really surprised when I pull this out, because they always think that it is charted in grays, and it's not. It's greens, and it's beautiful. And I think it's also really beautiful on this fabric, the Saltbush, because it's kind of got a greenish, grayish tone to it, and it all really ties together really well. So I love this. People were asking me for my conversion. It's not a conversion. It is just what Kathy provides. So, yes. Love this one. Y'all love it. Y'all love to see this one, and I love to pull it out. So I'm definitely hoping I can figure out some time to work on this again soon, because I love this project. All right, my next one. This one actually did not get called in Stitch the Summer Olympics. This didn't fit into any of the prompts I was working on, but I have been trying to work on this a little bit every few days because it is my dragon. I'm calling this my lace dragon. It's just called Dragon something. It's from author Embroidery Design on Etsy. I don't think I ever say that correctly, and I apologize to anyone who is Ukrainian and I'm not pronouncing it correctly. I had finished with pretty much all of the cross stitches last time, and I was just working on backstitch. So I have this first wing almost completely backstitched. So that's what I did. I'm gonna just pull it up close so you can see how gorgeous this is. It's amazing. It's so beautiful. So I just try to every few days pull this out at night and do a little bit of the backstitch, because I love backstitch, but this is very intense. It's a lot of work to try to figure out where I'm supposed to be going. And there's a lot of like putting it in, looking at it, doesn't look right, pulling it out, putting it in. And so it's fun. I like it. It's challenging, but sometimes I want to just like make X's and not think as much. So there we are. But it is coming along. Okay. One of the next ones I worked on was Plum Street Stars. And here we are on this. So I worked on the barn some, and I added this. I worked on the flagpole. I worked on this vine. This is a really beautiful piece. I don't anticipate stitching on it much for the foreseeable future. I'll probably try to pull it out on Labor Day weekend just to get a little bit of stuff in. I keep my patriotic decor up through Labor Day just because I can't be bothered to change decor every month. So my patriotic stuff is still up. It'll be up until Labor Day, and then Labor Day weekend-ish, the week after Labor Day somewhat, I will change over into fall. And so I will probably work on this like one more time over Labor Day weekend, depending on what our plans are and stuff, but I'll try to get a few stitches in, and then this will just probably go away until it either gets called on WIPGO next year or, you know, the actual season for it comes out. But I do like this. Once I got through that roof, I've had a lot more fun with the project. Okay, another one that I have not worked on in quite a while, and I don't know why, other than that I've just had a lot of new starts and a lot of new projects, is Nora Corbett Moon Glow. And this is, I think I forgot to tell you fabric for a couple of them. This one, Stars, is on 36 count sand by Picture This Plus, and I'm stitching it 2/2. I almost always stitch 2/2 on everything unless I say otherwise. 36 count, I do 2/2. I like full cover. I like really, really tight coverage. And then my dragon is on a 36 count Zweigart in Winter Moon. So I'm very bad about saying my fabrics. And this one is all just charted, all the called for DMC, and Stars is my own conversion that I'm kind of just making up as I go. If you want any information on what I've stitched so far for Stars, please reach out to me. I'm happy to send you the conversion that I have, but I don't usually post my conversions until I'm finished with my projects, just because Sometimes I think I'm going to use a particular floss, and then once I actually start stitching it, it doesn't look good or it doesn't work. And so then I will switch. And so I just don't want to post my conversion until I know that it's complete. But if at any time you want to know information, links for fabric, floss, something that I forget to mention, just please let me know. And I'm happy to give you that info. You can leave me a comment. You can email me, DM me on Instagram. I'm happy to give you that information. I'm not trying to gatekeep. I'm just bad at remembering to say things. Okay, so Moonglow is here. And this is a Nora Corbett. It's from the, I think it's called the Wild Threads collection. I might be making that up. But here we are. And I'm pretty far along on this project. I just need to really sit down and do it. I think the thing that stalled me was this moon. So I do want to say a huge thank you, Stephanie from Cross Stitch the Globe. She reached out to me, and she because I had talked, we live in the same state, but we've never met like in person. But I'm using a DMC variegated conversion that I found online from somebody called Cross Stitch Spells on Instagram, and she's amazing. I highly recommend checking her out if you like fancy ladies. But I love the conversion, except that I felt like for my fabric, this color is really blue and not as white as what looks like on the cover image. And so it's just not looking right. And I was sort of saying, I don't know what to do. I'm not sure if I want to order the silk, because the silk kind of also looks blue. And Stephanie's also working on this piece. She might have finished hers already. I'm not sure. And she said, I have extra of that color. I'll just send you some. And that way you can put it in and try it out. And, you know, that way you have it and you don't have to order a whole nother skein. And so thank you so much. I received it. And knowing that I had to pick all this out to put it in, I just haven't had the wherewithal to do it yet. But I am going to. So here it is. And then I'm working trying to get across this blanket thing that she's sitting on. But she is beautiful. I am stitching this with, like I said, there is a conversion that I'm using. It's not my conversion. I will put her Instagram below so you can check her out. I think she does a lot of conversions for fancy ladies, so definitely check her out if you're interested in fancy ladies. And I'm stitching it on Fiber on a Whim. I think this is Mint. That's what it is Mint. And it's a 32 count. I try to, anything that's got beads, I try to stitch on the called for count. That way I know the beads will fit. I know some people have ways around that, but I'm very new to the world of fancy ladies and beading, and I don't want to mess anything up until, I don't want to mess around with the tried and true formula until I've got it down. Okay, my last project is one that you saw recently, and that is Spring Moon, another Plum Street. And I'm going to move my needle minder so that you can actually see what I am talking about. But here I am. So I worked on this during the opening ceremonies, and then I think I put another day's worth of work into it as well. So I've made some more progress on the house and the bee skep. And then I came up here and I started working more on the leaves and the flowers. And I love this project. This is one that is sadly probably going to get put away pretty soon because it is spring, summer kind of theme. And in the fall, all I want to stitch is fall. That's all I want to do is fall. So I will probably be putting this away, but I'm going to try to get a little bit more work on it over the next couple weeks. We'll see. We'll see. I am having a lot of fun with it though. And this was a project that had stalled out. I talked last time. I also wanted to say, this is kind of an aside, but last time in my last video, I think it was my last video. I think it was. I talked about how, you know, I've been sort of like trying to do the responsible thing or whatever when it comes to stitching, as far as like stitching the not fun parts. So being like, okay, I need to fill in this, my goodness, I need to fill in this basket and this roof before I can move on, because that's going to be the difficult part. So I need to do the difficult part first. And it was stopping me from actually working on my projects. It was stopping me from doing from doing not only the part that I want to do, it was stopping me from doing anything. Like, this project sat for months because I did not want to work on that roof. And that's silly, because that's zero progress. Anyway, so I don't want to rehash the whole thing, but I talked about that. I also talked about that I had been putting myself under a lot of pressure to take things to the fair, and that I was really stressed out about like getting certain projects done and certain projects having to be perfect, and that I had just decided to let that all go. I was like, I'm not entering anything to the fair unless I just happen to have something done and ready. Which at this point, the fair's coming up, so I'm probably not going to enter anything. I'm not going to work on things that I'm not going to work on parts of projects that I hate just because I feel like I'm supposed to. And I had so many amazing comments and people reaching out to me that said that really resonated with them, and that they felt the same way. And, anyway, so thank you all who reached out and said really nice things and really just said that you feel the same way. Because I do think that we tend to kind of put pressure on ourselves on our craft. Either because of external pressure, because we want to be able to post things on Flosstube or social media or the fair, or just our own expectations. And it's supposed to be fun. It's a hobby. It's relaxing. I know for some people, cross stitch, if you're a designer or, something, then cross stitch is your job. But for most of us, it's not our job. It's the thing that's supposed to make us happy. So anyway, I just wanted to say thank you so much to everybody that reached out and said that those words resonated with you and shared with me how you'd been kind of feeling the same way or things that you'd been doing. So I really appreciate that. And I'm so happy that, we were able to kind of connect, and that people felt like that was a good message to talk about in here. So anyway, okay, so that was my cross stitch. I do want to do a little bit of a giveaway. So this is kind of a pass the stash giveaway. It's something that I just recently finished, and I'm kind of trying to think about what patterns do I want to just keep in my stash just to keep them, and what things do I want to just move on with. Some of my patterns, I'm not going to lie, y'all, I am rough on some of my patterns. So some of my patterns I would not give away to somebody unless they just really wanted it or something, because they're a little bit worn. Like, I use these patterns, I pull them in and out of project bags. I cannot be bothered to make working copies. I know that's bad. I think if I had something that was like out of print or really expensive or whatever, I would, but most of the time I'm buying that pattern to use it. But this one right here, Wee Santa, is in very good condition because it's small, is a quick project. So here it is. It's in really good condition, and it still has plenty of the beads that are required. I don't know if that's going to show up. Plenty of the required beads. And I just thought, I'm not going to use this little bit of beads. And this is such a fun little pattern. So I wanted to pass it on to one of you as a thank you for, supporting my channel, all of that. So if you would like to win this copy of Wee Santa along with the included beads, which, yeah, there should be plenty of beads. I think I could make this project like 3 or 4 times and have the beads. So if any of you want to win this, please tell me which season or holiday is your favorite to stitch for. Or if you're not a seasonal stitcher at all, then just say, I'm not a seasonal stitcher. I don't like to stitch for a season, and maybe tell me like what your favorite thing is to stitch. But I'm really interested to know, because we're coming up on fall, which is my favorite season to stitch for. So I'm getting really excited about all the seasonal stitching, but I would love to know what is your favorite season to stitch for, or if you just don't really stitch, if you don't have to be a seasonal stitcher. So if you like to stitch, Christmas and fall year round, but what's your favorite kind of like season of like genre or holiday genre to stitch for? I hope that makes sense. Answer the question how you will. I think I can figure out if you're talking about the prompt. But anyway, so I will pull a winner in my next video, which will hopefully be 2 weeks from now. School is starting, so it might be a little bit longer than 2 weeks, but I I'm going to try real hard to stay on my 2-week-ish schedule because I think that it's really good for me. Y'all know what to expect, and I don't have too many projects to show. So, all right, so that is my stitching and my giveaway, so make sure you enter that. I am going to show just a tiny bit of knitting. I have one knitting project. It is in my bag. I made this bag. And if you've been with me since pretty much the beginning, this is a bag that I showed off in one of my very first Flosstubes, and I made it to house my daughter's rainbow sweater that I made last year, and now it is housing another rainbow sweater for this year. So every year I make my daughter a sweater for her birthday and a dress for her birthday, and her birthday is in October. So number one, I love to make her things, but it works out really well because her birthday is kind of always, at least here in Oklahoma, where it kind of starts to get cold. Like we have really hot, warm days through October. They're usually like September, mid-October, even late October can be hot. Sometimes late October is an ice storm. We just don't know. But I feel like kind of around when her birthday is when we start to get like some consistently chilly days. And so it's a perfect time to give her a couple pieces to update her wardrobe that are handmade from me. And so I make her, like I said, I make her a sweater. I knit her a sweater every year. I've done it since her first birthday. And then I sew her a dress. I think I started sewing her dresses on her second birthday. So her first birthday, she just got a sweater. But I think I don't know. I made her something else for her first birthday. She didn't care. It was her first birthday. She doesn't remember it. Okay, so this is the sweater. This thing looks like a hot mess, you guys. I want to apologize, but I don't know. Okay, so this is called Little Miss Rainbow. It is a pattern on Ravelry, and I will link to it below. But my daughter loves rainbows. So last year, I don't always make her a rainbow sweater, but last year she wanted a rainbow sweater. And she picked out like what she wanted. And this year she said that she wanted another rainbow sweater, but she wanted it to be a cardigan. And so I am working on this. So this is, and she picked out all these colors, you guys. So this is the cardigan, and I've got a lot of threads. I actually started weaving in my ends already because I could not deal with these threads. So it's going to be, well, it'll have a button band, but it's going to be like this. Let's see if I can hold it up and not look ridiculous. Okay, there we go. Kind of. Okay, so it's going to look more or less like this. So this is like the front piece, you know, and then it'll have a button band, but it'll come together. So there we are. I'll show you the back so you can actually kind of see the stripes a little bit better. So this is the sweater. Can I even get this to focus? So there we are. So she wanted it to be a pink background and rainbow stripes. So I ordered, I think, 2 less colors than it called for, because it didn't call for just the rainbow colors. Like it's kind of a rainbow gradient. And so I'm doing the top color, which is the purple, twice. And then the bottom color is going to be a bright pink. And I'm going to do that one twice. So it'll be fine. This is a little bit of a weird construction, sort of. So I've been knitting a very long time. And because and I didn't think about this, it's obvious when you think about it, but because this is a single row stripe, which usually you see multiple, because this is a single row stripe on something that's knit flat. So when I say knit flat, I mean it's knit back and forth and it doesn't connect. If you knit it in the round, it connects. And I kind of wish that I had just knit it in the round and then done what's called a steek, which is where you like reinforce and then cut the knitting. I've never done that and I'm scared to, but I think it might have been worth it on this one. So the pattern calls for you to knit it in the round or knit it flat, excuse me. So you knit it flat and you go back and forth, but because there's single stripes of colors, you will knit one way and then you need to pick up your main color and, you know, purl back or whatever. And that means that you have to have two main colors. So I have a ball of the pink here coming off this side and then a ball of the pink here coming off this side. And it's a disaster. You guys, I can't keep this straight in my head. So I can't tell you how many times I've stitched with the wrong one and then realized it and had to pull back or just cut my thread, my yarn, and then whatever. So this is a labor of love for sure. I don't know if anything that I said made any sense. I think if you're a knitter, it makes sense. If you're not, I apologize. But basically, because of the way this is constructed, there's a lot of ends and it's fine. I'm getting through it. I'm almost done. I have two more. I have the last color to do. So I have 2 stripes in the last color and then I'm actually done. And done with the yoke, and then I can just knit with one ball, one strand, the rest of the project. So this is my last color. It's going to be a really bright pink and it's going to go here. So there we go. And the yarn I'm using is called Mighty Stitch. It's a worsted weight by Knit Picks and Mighty Stitch. And it is 80% acrylic, 20% superwash wool. I prefer to knit with wool, but this is for my child and she is a kindergartner or is about to be a kindergartner, and she goes to school and she spills stuff on herself and she paints and she gets stuff on herself, and you know what I mean? Like, it's a mess. And although you can wash wool, you can wash natural fibers, it's a lot more of a to-do. And so for right now, for her age, I do knit a lot of acrylic for her just so that way it's real easy to wash. It is what it is. But I will say, if you're looking for an acrylic that feels really nice and is still washable, the Mighty Stitch is really good because it's super soft. It's super soft, super cuddly, and it does have a little bit of that wool in it. So it's still, I don't think it has that like squeaky plasticky acrylic feeling, you know, from like the cheap acrylics. So, I mean, this is not expensive at all, but anyway, Mighty Stitch, I highly recommend. The main color of this is, let's see if I can find it, because I try to keep all my ball bands in here so that way I could tell you the colors, but of course they're not with the, it's called Blush is the main color that I'm using, Blush. And I'm not going to run through, because I have this stack of ball bands, I'm not going to run through every single color I am using, but if you're interested in which ones I'm using, please let me know. You can, again, drop me a comment or send me an email, DM me on Instagram, and I'm happy to give you like my full list of colors. I just don't know that everybody wants to sit here while I try to list out the colors that I use. So, but yeah, so here it is. Her birthday's in October, so I have got some work to do, but I'm hoping that once I get through this yoke that it will go quicker. And I am, again, this is a worsted weight yarn and I'm knitting this on US size 8s. I am using my Chiaogu red lace fixed circulars. So fixed circulars meaning that these do not detach. There's also interchangeable circular needles, and those you can screw off and screw back on. I've never used the interchangeables. I've heard really good things about the Chiaogu interchangeables. The Chiaogu red lace is this is my favorite needle. This is the only needle I use unless I'm going on a plane and I need wooden needles. But if I have my choice, I'm going to use my Chiaogu red lace fixed circulars. They're the best needles. You can't tell me otherwise. So that's that. So that's my knitting. That was my stitching. I really appreciate y'all coming and hanging out with me this week. Please remember to enter my giveaway if you would like to get the wee Santa, and also tell me how you found me if you are a new or recent subscriber. So thank you so much, and I hope you have a great couple weeks and you get lots of crafting time.